So here we're given this list that has 3 different positive integers. So they're all positive, which means they are 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. Their sum is 10. Also remember they are distinct. So this is also important. Questions: which of the following statements individually will give you enough information to determine the value of the greatest integer? So we're looking at finding the greatest integer. So I'll start with the first one, which is that the median is 3. That means, because the sum is 10, the remaining 2 would add up to 7. And I'm going to try to generate some cases where I would get different values for the greatest integer. For example, it could be 1 and 6, or it could be 2 and 5. Here, in both cases, the sum is 10, and the greatest integer has 2 different values. So A is not sufficient. So we look at B. The range, which is the difference between the greatest and the least, is 5. So what I'll do is I'll start with the least possible value for the smallest integer is 1, because they have to be all positive. And if the range is 5, the greatest would be 6. And of course, I have to also make the sum 10. So that does work. That gives me a value. But what if I could have this as 2? In that case, this would be 7, but then the number in the middle would become 1. But then that's actually the least, in which case I won't satisfy the range. So this one is out. If you try 3, that would be 8 here. The sum is already greater than 10. So this is the only case that's possible. And B does give us enough information to find the value of the greatest integer. Now C says the sum of the greatest and the least integer. So least and the greatest, that sum is 7, which means that the number in the middle, or median, is 3. And that brings us back to choice A, which is identical to A, which does not work with these examples that I gave. So C is also out. The answer is B only.